Hey everyone, it's Khan, and the Denver Nuggets have quickly started to resemble championship contenders once more. I don't think many folks have noticed how they are soaring up the Western Conference standings, looking outstanding over their last approximately 15 games. I'm recording this before I head to Paris on Tuesday, so the Nuggets and Sixers haven't played their game yet. However, I'm assuming Denver will win with no Joel Embiid out for Philadelphia. If they lose, you might need to adjust these numbers slightly, but if they win, that would put them at 11-3 over their last 14 and 7 wins out of 8. A victory there would bring them right behind the Memphis Grizzlies, just one game back of the 3 seed and half a game back of the Houston Rockets in the second spot. It feels like not too long ago that nearly everyone was panicking about the Nuggets, questioning their shooting, defense, and what happened to Jamal Murray. Many thought the team was disintegrating at the season's start. Initially, the query was whether they could even be a playoff team, and now it seems possible for them to attain a 2 or 3 seed, potentially securing home court advantage in the first round. They are once again a formidable presence in the Western Conference, so I want to discuss why this is, with Nikola Jokic being the main focus as always. Who is assembling once more one of the finest statistical seasons I've witnessed. Career-high 30.1 points per game, 13.2 rebounds, a career-high 9.9 assists. He stands just 0.1 assists short of averaging a 30-0 triple-double alongside 1.8 steals while shooting an impressive 56.1% from the field, which is actually slightly below his usual for Nikola Jokic, one of the most astonishing stats imaginable, and 47.4% from 3. He is currently dominating in nearly every aspect. He is a walking triple-double. One of the greatest offensive players, perhaps the best offensive player in basketball history. It's just typical for him. I mean, he embodies a top 5 offense there, the 4th best offense in the league right now, and top 2 in MVP discussions. It seems like it will be a contest between him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And yes, it's just typical Jokic stuff. I mean, he's second in assists. He's one of the most inventive and immensely skilled playmakers I've ever noticed. There are so many passing lanes he conjures out of thin air once he identifies a player whom he seems to notice at all moments. If you leave him alone for even a brief moment, he'll locate that player wide open. It could be a deceptive pass. It might be a behind-the-back pass or a swing pass to the corner. From possibly the opposite corner, he'll employ whatever magic he possesses to deliver the ball to the open shooter. Of course, he's also an excellent scorer. He is likely my clutch player of the year at this point, definitely part of that discussion. He consistently takes charge in those critical moments whenever Denver competes in tightly contested games. There's essentially nothing you can do. He will post you up, sink that little baby hook, and execute the sour shuffle to score. It's nearly impossible to stop him. Plus, he's an elite rebounder, so if you give Jokic's offense more possessions, you're inviting disaster. Truly, Joker is one of the finest offensive players of all time, showcasing immense talent in the sport. It's typical Joker behavior, but he started the season playing exceptionally well. The significant shift lately has been the supporting cast starting to elevate their game. Jamal Murray, for example, is beginning to resemble his former self again. He resembles much more the second option he was alongside Joker during that title run than the Jamal Murray we've witnessed over the past year or so. Heading into last year's playoffs, Jamal was a bit inconsistent and had a disappointing playoff run where they lost in the second round. Additionally, he underperformed in the Olympics and had a tough start to the season. However, he's returned to more familiar Jamal Murray numbers, averaging 20.1 points per game, 6 rebounds, 45% shooting from the field, and 38% from beyond the arc. While those stats are slightly below his typical performance, they are a significant improvement from previous lows. Over the last 14 games, where the team has excelled, he's averaged 22 points and 6 assists with nearly 60% shooting, which is incredibly important. At the start of this season, there were doubts about whether giving Jamal Murray that contract was a critical error that could hinder Denver's championship aspirations if he experienced a significant drop in performance. It would have been nearly impossible for Denver to achieve success with him consuming that much cap space. So witnessing Jamal Murray back to being a dominant shot-creating scoring guard is fantastic, and his two-man game with Jokic is among the best in the league. Those two players together are impressive. When they're performing at their peak, there's virtually no one in the sport that competes like they do. But it hasn't solely been Jamal M and Nicole Joyce collaborating, as that duo has been fantastic. However, the more thrilling combination this season has perhaps been Jokic and Russell Westbrook. I know several other creators have produced content about him, and I considered putting together a video focused on Russ. But due to the Nuggets' impressive performance, I opted to discuss the entire team instead. Yet, as a longtime Thunder supporter and a devoted Russ fan, he's the player who truly ignited my passion for basketball. I was really hopeful things would work out for him in Denver. I had some concerns about the chemistry since the Nuggets appeared to lack three-point shooting, and of course, Russ hasn't been a reliable three-point shooter in his recent career. A part of me was apprehensive. It might not work, but when you can sign a player with Russ's credentials on a minimum contract, Denver had to take that chance, and it has paid enormous dividends. He transitioned from being one of the initial players off the bench to now being a full-time starter and a key player on this team. Since his promotion to the starting lineup, the Nuggets have experienced greater success as he has grown more comfortable. A significant aspect of this is the two-man game with Nikola Jokic. Whether it's Jokic posting up and finding Russell Westbrook on a cut, Russ is an incredibly intelligent cutter. With Joker's exceptional vision, whenever Russ drives downhill, he is usually found. Although he may not be as athletic as he once was, Russ remains an incredible athlete, especially for someone of his age. Seeing the type of finishes he executes and the rim runs he makes is astonishing, particularly for someone who used to jump and dunk with such ferocity. Another player who deserves more discussion regarding longevity and athleticism has performed admirably in hitting three-pointers, while nothing extraordinary. His 34% shooting from deep is commendable for Russ in recent years. Additionally, he has proven to be a strong defender, likely the best perimeter defender on this roster thus far. He also provides a valuable playmaking option alongside Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, which the Nuggets previously lacked, making a noticeable impact. Currently, the Nuggets are averaging over 30 assists per game, which is the highest in the league, and it's an astonishing figure. I believe there have only been a few teams in NBA history, or maybe I misunderstood the statistic I encountered, but not many teams in NBA history have managed to average over 30 assists per night. It's incredibly impressive how they move the ball. Jokic collaborates very well with Russ, and these two operate effectively alongside Jamal Murray and the supporting players. This team is really discovering its chemistry at the perfect time. They're starting to gain momentum. That's been the Nuggets' identity for the last several years. Jokic truly enhances everyone's game. If you surround him with well-suited players, you're likely to succeed in this very dynamic offense, which at times feels almost alive with the way they pass the ball, make appropriate cuts, and read the game. The Nuggets excel at offense, making it a pleasure to watch. It also helps that Michael Porter Jr. is contributing 18 points a game while shooting 41.6% from three, along with 2.4 assists, which is remarkable for him, a notably high figure. Christian Braun is making 37% of his outside shots for 13.8 points per game. Aaron Gordon has made sacrifices and has been coming off the bench recently, which allows the starting lineup of Russ, Jamal Murray, Christian Braun, Michael Porter Jr., and Jokic to continue functioning effectively. And of course, Aaron Gordon still logs significant minutes as a strong defender, also hitting a considerable amount of his threes at 40%, even if his shooting volume isn't high. Julian Strawther has had some really impressive scoring off the bench. Peyton Watson remains an exceptional defender with incredible athleticism. His shooting is still developing, currently at only 34%, but for someone who primarily is meant to be a stopper, that isn't too bad. The main weakness, however, is still their backup big position. DeAndre Jordan has been around, and while he hasn't been the worst player during his minutes, they would greatly benefit from an upgrade in that area. If they could enhance their backup big spot, I would feel very optimistic about this Nuggets 8-man rotation heading into the playoffs. I'd also like to see more shooting volume since they lead the NBA in outside shooting percentage, but they have the fewest attempts, which concerns me for the playoffs when teams might start to sag off their shooters. The positive note is that, like Russell Westbrook, even if defenders give him space, he's incredibly proficient at driving downhill and creating advantages off those attacks. You really don't want to allow him the room to build up momentum to create plays, especially when playing alongside Jokic. Not only is Jokic skilled at setting up Russ, However, Russ excels at locating him and vice versa, particularly in that specific game, which has truly acted as a catalyst for their resurgence. I believe it has opened up opportunities for almost everyone, and as a fan of Russ, it's exciting to witness this because I was somewhat concerned that Russ's career might be nearing an end soon. I was uncertain about his best fit, and evidently, it was Denver, and I expect that this connection will last beyond the season and possibly into the twilight of Russ's career. It's fantastic to see him get the opportunity to play on such a strong team and have a shot at a championship, as winning a ring for Russ would be incredible. He certainly had a ring with the Thunder, but if it's not with them, it would be great to see Russell Westbrook secure one because he truly deserves it. Overall, this Nuggets team has quietly begun to emerge as a formidable force in the Western Conference, even if not many are discussing it. I conducted a live stream on Bleacher Report, which I do every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern if you're interested in checking it out. I host an NBA live stream, and my latest topic was ranking my top 5 NBA contenders, which I think I extended to top 8. I placed the Nuggets 5th in the NBA, only behind the Thunder, Celtics, Cavs, and Mavericks. By season's end, though, I believe the Nuggets could climb higher on that list. They truly seem like one of the top forces in the Western Conference, especially with the best player in the world, Jokic, and a supporting cast that is stepping up and finding its rhythm. They could potentially make a trade around the deadline, especially to improve the backup big position, as Darius Saric has struggled this season, and they are currently playing DeAndre Jordan, who isn't effective.